Hi everyone, I'm Kashish, and today I would like to explain you about the things which I have understood from the videos related to criminology. First is that I understood that what is the nature of crime and how does society responds to the different types of crimes. So, basically, uh, what is the definition of crime? Not the proper definition, but yes, like the definition. In other words, it is a violation of criminal law that is called crime. And in the video, I just got understood that in US, crime against the person includes, well, there are two types of crimes. The first one is the crime against the person, and the second one is the crime against the property. So crime against the person includes murder, assaults, and rape and robbery, whereas the crime against the property includes burglary, uh, theft, and auto theft. And whereas there are some victimless crimes such as prostitution and drugs. And even in that video, it was explained like about the percentage of how many thefts or crime has been committed. So such as there was this example of FBI in 2050, that was in US, that 1.2 million violent crime were done, and whereas 8 million property crime were done. But in 2015, violent crimes were like violent crime were less than property crime. So it was like around 372.6, and property crime was around 2487. Like it was the roundabout. So basically, there were some crimes which were not reported, and at that time in US, um, they used to take only those crimes which were reported to police. And there were, I guess, so many crimes which were not, of which the police doesn't have any kind of data. So there was this survey which I got to know from that video of crime. So it was like in 2015, fewer than half, about 47% of violent crimes were reported to police. The violent crimes were more as compared to the property crimes, and the property crimes were only just about 35%. And even the crimes the people did, the property crime and the that violent crimes, regarding property crime, I guess 62% of the people got arrested in 2015 in US, and 80% of the people related to violent crime did got arrested. And let's just move to another video. So it was related to what is criminology. Basically, criminology is a scientific study of several different aspects of crime, namely nature and extent of crime, what are their causes, consequences, reactions, and preventions, I guess. So basically, nature and extent of crime was related to how much crime is there in our society, and what crime rates are there. So in causes, in causes there were like, why do some people commit crime and other doesn't, and why does at some places crime happens and at some places crime doesn't happens. Whereas there was these consequences of committing crime. So it was like, as people commit crime, it does have an adverse impact even on their health, such as they got injuries when they do crime, such as fighting or any other crime related to that. And it can also affect their families. So related to reactions, as there were different kind of punishments which police or law should give them according to their crime. And even crimes are being studied in different ways, such as like in law, sociologists and historians have these have also contributed to criminology. So I will explain these two, laws and sociology. In law and in sociology, like what it is. So in law, different crimes get punished. Like there are different punishments for different kinds of crime. And in sociology, it's like when like how the other person interacts with uh, people outside the world, like socially, such as creating gang and committing crimes. So that is. And let's move on to what is crime. So it includes basically crime includes robbery, rapes, but also includes stealing at work, like doing corruption and doing some kinds of fraud. And even the law varies by time. Like what used to be crime and may not be crime now. This question occurs like in earlier times. That thing was not considered as crime, but it is a crime now. Um, or it used to be crime at that time, but in present it is not considered at time uh, as a crime. So it's like in earlier times, husbands beating their wife was not a kind of crime, but in in this present situation, if you are raising your hands on at the person, that is a crime now. And even there are some places in which you are allowed to commit you're allowed to commit crime. And in another state or in other city or in other country, you are not allowed to commit crime. So that can be prostitution and cannabis. Like in one country you are allowed to do that, but in other country you are not allowed to do that. So even I understood about the different methods of measuring the crime. So there was this, I guess, CSI, which I have understood from the video. So it is a kind of tool, and the full form of CSI is severity index. Like it is used to measure the crime severity in Canada. The CSI, the crime severity index, is also used by media, lawmakers and many others. So while there are some traditional crime rates, the amount of crime in a given area, they don't account for whole picture. This is where the CSI is different. Like in traditional times, you have to go through the whole crime area, like how the crime has been committed and what all things are done at that time. But in this, like with CSI, you don't have to go through the whole picture of the crime. So this is the difference between the CSI and the traditional crime rates. So let's just take an example. This example was basically given in that video, so I'm explaining to you that example, so we will get to know about that how CSI is used basically. So by comparing two different crimes, right? First degree murder, we can take first degree murder and property theft, I guess. If first degree murder has a heavier weight than property theft, that tells us that it is much more severe, even though it happens for less frequently when you compare these two crimes in first degree murder. Whereas traditional crime rates, this increase may go undetected. Like, this is the power of CSI. It has the ability to overcome the statistical limitations and accurately detect if serious crimes are increasing or decreasing in a certain locations. So CSI also has this ability to detect whether the particular crime is increasing day by day or it is decreasing. Overall, what I got to know from this whole CSI thing is that the annual crime rate remained same over the past years, but that their CSI significantly decreased. The more serious offense, such as robbery, assaults, got decreased every year. So that's a great thing. So regarding crime and punishment, I got to know about from this video that Cesar and Beccario, Cesar Beccario, he is considered as the father of criminology seen by many people. Like, he was an Italian born an aristocrat in the year 1738 in Milan. At the crime and punishment were still dominated at that time as an old idea that crime was sin and it was caused by devil and demons. Like, at that time, the people who used to commit crime were considered as devil and demons, and even and to punish these and to punish these both who were causing crime, were very harsh punishments were used to punish them. And even in Korea's famous work on crime punishment was published in, I guess, 1764, when he was 26 years old. At that time, time sentences were very hard. Like, the torture was normal and a lot of corruption was there. And at that time, there was no equality before the law, and the people with high status were treated differently, and whereas the people with poor status were different in such a bad manner. So, like, according to Beccaria, only law can prescribe the punishment. Like, it is on legislative to define crime and to prescribe which punishment should be given to it. Like, um, it it is in their hand to, to put penalty or not. Like, the judge cannot himself decline to anything until and unless the legislative has agreed to that particular thing. He also said that laws applies equally to all people, and punishment should also be equal, and like for all kind of people, such as people with poor status and people with high status. um, and even making the law and law enforcement public. Specifically law should be published so that, like, people get to know that if they do these kinds of things, so uh, they will be punished with this thing. And even what was their thinking, like, according to Beccaria, it was like a person was not given the punishment to put in pain. Instead, he used the person was getting punished so that he may not occur that crime again. And if after getting punishment the person still commits crime, then that particular punishment should be stopped. Like, this was their idea. Let's just move on to criminal law. So, like, according to Lambru's theory, he suggested that certain individuals were born with physical traits, like, that were predisposed them to criminal behavior leads to. He believes that criminals inhibited primitive characteristics resembling earlier stages of human evolution. Yeah. So it was like it was sim. So Lembrou argued that criminals were born criminals. So in his words, it was like the criminals who commit crime, they were born criminals due to their Atomistic trait, suggesting a regression to more primitive stages of human development. So he identifies that because of their physical characteristics, such as their shape of skull, their facial features, their body type, as indicates criminal related things. These traits are considered atomistic, and it was like this of scientific determination in his theory that was rooted in scientific determinism, implying that criminal behavior was determined by biological factors rather than their free will. So like according to his perspective, it was like by seeing all the biological factors, their biological traits, the person who commits crime is basically a born criminal. So that was it with this. So yeah, last but not the least, that what is psychopathy? Psychopathy is basically, it is a personality disorder characteristics by enduring antisocial behavior, diminished empathy, and removed bold and egotistical traits. So like it is often assessed using tools like the Hare psychopathy checklist revised. It evaluates factors such as interpersonal, affective, lifestyle, and antisocial behavior to determine psychological tendencies. So yeah, that's all with the videos. These were the things which I got understood from the videos. Thank you so much.